Good afternoon, Miami Dolphins fans. Welcome back to another edition of Dolphins on 5. I'm David Eversole, joined by, of course, Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry. Before we jump in, want to mention one of our fantastic sponsors, of course, Prize Picks Daily Fantasy. Make sure to sign up using promo code FIVE. NFL preseason is here. You can get an action on NFL full season futures and even week one projections as well. We'll have a lot more on Prize Picks this week on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. So make sure to like and subscribe this video as well and sign up with promo code FIVE. It's been a great week, a real exciting week for the media out there in terms of covering some of the specific players of the Dolphins. So we're going to talk about two of the key guys this week in terms of the story going on out there. So Alfredo, first of all, how are you doing, man? I want to talk about a lot of the action this week.
Yeah, I'm doing great. It was an eventful week, really. They got a lot done, and the media got to chew on a few things too. So it was a good week had by all.
Yeah, we. I think before we started the show, we used the term the media promoted a certain player and how they were doing one in a negative light and one in a positive light. So and you couldn't have one without the other. So it's pretty obvious. But first of all, we're going to start with Tua. I know a lot was said about multiple practices this week with a lot of interceptions, not only from QB1 but from the backups as well. So. But in digging into a little bit more, I know a lot of what they're working on is situational. And obviously in practice, you're probably going to maybe push things a little bit further than you would in a game or a situation that mattered more. So want to give a little bit of context to some of this because I know those of you who are on social media see a lot of these reports and just think the sky is falling in around the offense this week. So give a little bit of perspective to that whole situation.
Yeah, on Tuesday he was just really bad. They did a 2-minute situational segments of practice. Like their periods were all basically situational and on 2 minutes, and then they had certain games like they had to go 60 yards for a field goal inside of 40 seconds. Then they had a later period where they were given a minute and 5 seconds needing a field goal, and they were starting at their own 25. So they did several of these different situations, and in my opinion, I thought Tua was pretty bad on Tuesday. And as it turns out, a lot of the guys afterwards and the following day said that Mike McDaniel actually told the guys about it, told them that was a piss poor effort on Tuesday and that wasn't necessarily the kind of practice that he likes. He also revealed that he doesn't really like to see these practices where one side of the ball completely dominates. He likes to see a little give and take, a little back and forth. He likes to see both sides winning a little bit. And that's actually what kind of happened on Wednesday. I thought Wednesday was a better practice. And today I thought was one of their best practices. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about the player of the week. But, yeah, I thought that the practices got progressively better, especially for Tua. After that was a miserable performance on Tuesday. That was just a bad performance by Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, and we're talking about this internal, obviously, competition, not in terms of just where you're going to be on the team, but just getting out there and competing with your teammates on the practice field, giving the effort. Obviously, we know out there in the August heat, even the reps, however they're suiting up out there at the time. It's a lot of work that these guys are putting in. And speaking of somebody who's putting in the work, I want to talk about our guy over there on the defense, Javon Holland. He's just been a monster from everything that's being reported this week in terms of his impact on these plays. Obviously, we talked about Tua, and on the inverse side of that coin is a lot of these guys in the secondary have been having a pretty good week from their side. So give us a little bit of your take on the performance of Holland and his crew back there on defense.
Well, I think Javon Holland was this week, and I mentioned this on OnlyFans a little bit earlier. If Martians had landed on that field this week and didn't know anything about anybody on that team, Teron Armstead, Xavier Howard, Tyreek Hill, they would have thought the best player on the team was Javon Holland. He was magnificent. There's no other way around it. On Wednesday, he had 2 interceptions, both of them spectacular plays, great catches. Okay. Were they bad decisions by Tua? I'm not so sure. I think they were like 50-50 on Wednesday, those two interceptions. I think it was 50-50 bad decision and great play by Javon Holland. Tua probably gets away with both decisions if the guy back there wasn't Javon Holland. Today, it was just a spectacular play. It was, if I'm allowed to like give a little bit X's and O's, and the people that know this can picture this in their mind. It was a 3-deep look, and they threw what was essentially a deep post to Trent Sherfield, and Holland just broke on it, shadowed Sherfield, and picked it off from Tua as Tua delivered it. What looked like was on target, but it was just great closing speed. On Wednesday, that was today. On Wednesday, I think the best play he made was on a deep bomb to Tyreek Hill. He came flying out of nowhere. He just materialized in the last second to knock it away. If not, that would have gone for a big one, maybe even a touchdown, maybe even a 65-yard touchdown. So he's just been everywhere. And it's been one of these things where you look at the defense, and I always like to do this. I always like to see, okay, they're lined up in this formation on offense, and then I look at the defense and I see where the safeties and where the corners are. And it's one of these things where you look at it and you're like, okay, they're in a 2-deep look here. Or, okay, this could be quarters, or this could be 3 deep. And all of a sudden the pass is away, and you look, and who's always there to make a play? It's always Javon Holland. I expect a massive season from him. It should be an all-pro year. And arrow up. Like, this is going to be one of the better players in the NFL, I think, going forward. He was asked today in practice by, I believe it was Marcel Louis-Jacques, although don't quote me on that, about the new contracts that were signed this past week. One by Derwin James,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, it's a little premature to talk about this, but I would say if all of this stays the same and this trajectory keeps going the same way it is, he'll be signing one of those massive deals here soon.
Yeah, and that's good. You want to see these young guys develop internally and stick with the team if they turn into these players that he's projecting to so far. I think one of the things that separates him perhaps from being a good player to being a great player is just his skills on the balls in the air and making turning those plays into turnovers and not just passes defended, but actually, sealing the play and getting the ball back for the offense. But he's one of those game changers, just like Hill on the offense and the wide receiver group. He's one of those guys, like you said, in a 50-50, if you have the better talent, that's what puts you over the top in those individual matchups. And those plays within the game, sometimes your star players is what, will propel the whole team forward. So it's great to see that.
Yeah, we've gotten used to, like, the last few years, how Xavier Howard just pops up to win a couple of games a year. I wouldn't be surprised at all if now Javon Holland starts doing some of that. He starts making game-changing and game-winning plays. It's just been, and by the way, at the podium, like, he eats this up. Like, he absolutely eats this up. The media is asking him questions, and he talks like a 15-year vet. You could tell he's enjoying himself and he's having a good time with this. And let's hope he stays healthy. This is going to be a very, very good season for Javon Holland.
Yeah, the great ones have the physical tools, and obviously, but they're students of the game as well. And if you put that all together, you could really have a very special player back there in the secondary. So we've got our next preseason game coming up, our first home preseason game with the Raiders on Saturday. So given this week of practice, any projections or thoughts in terms of who you might see out there and for how long on Saturday, and what's leading up to the game?
Yeah, I think that this is the week where they're actually going to get some run out of their guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if they play everybody. And they play everybody a couple of series to start this game. I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. It's what a lot of teams in the NFL are doing. But the coach has wanted to keep everything really close to his vest. Like, he hasn't really revealed anything as far as who will start or who won't start. So I would say, safe bets for guys that probably won't play. I think Teron Armstead probably won't play. Do you really need to see Tyreek Hill play? Jalen Waddle this year was nursing some type of injury that they didn't disclose, but they said it was no big deal. So I would say his I would say his status for Saturday is probably in jeopardy. But other than that, I would say pretty much everybody else should play. And I would expect to see a little bit of Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert since they didn't play at all last week. So this should be the week, but don't quote me. This should be the week we see a lot of starters.
And we'll be back with a full report after the game, of course. And anything else in terms of content for the rest of the week that they should know about, the fans out there?
3 yards per carry. We'll be doing a podcast tonight. So that will be dropping tonight, late overnight. So you'll have something to chew on before the game on Saturday. And, of course, on Saturday, we have the pregame show with David Fernandez and Michael. So look forward to that.
Yeah, excited to get closer to the regular season and start to see the team progress week to week. So want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll be back after the game on Saturday. Thank you.